The Wilberforce Ranch in the Matobo hills of southern Zimbabwe is a model example of how private enterprise and communities can mutually benefit from wildlife conservation. However, a crucial piece of infrastructure makes this possible: the fence line separating the cattle and wildlife sections. Keeping domestic cattle out of the designated wildlife areas is essential for the ecosystem's recovery and long-term health. Without appropriate boundaries, grazing cattle would compete directly with wildlife for grazing. The Johnson brothers, Guav and Courteney, realized the importance of showing the communities that there is room for cattle and wildlife.
I think you'd have a problem if you wanted to completely just take it over with wildlife. But, you know, the point we're trying to push with them is that you can do both, as long as you control the numbers of cattle and you don't heavily overgraze the properties and so on. But for them to realize that there is a large benefit from the wildlife. You know, maybe at a certain point they'll actually realize that, you know what, the wildlife is more valuable than our cattle. We're getting more from the game than we are our cattle.
That guy there is just incredibly frustrated because of that one cow that keeps getting through the fence. And he says that he fixes the fence daily because of it, and also because it seems to be an older cow. A lot of the cows follow it. This is what he's saying. And the cows follow it through into the property here, and he's got to constantly herd it and waste time herding cattle out instead of being able to fix the fence or look after the fence, which is his job. So he's just very frustrated.
So a group of elephant bulls crossed the fence here, but they've damaged it a little bit, broke the top two strands, so he's just reconnecting and tensioning them.
Very often when they break through, they break the bottom strands, but with this it slides over their back and remains in place, and that keeps the giraffe in. So even though the fence is broken, it does contain a giraffe, just at one top strand. The fence?
Yeah.
Okay, here we have one of our elephant grids. This is our third version of it. We started off first with the standard cattle grid, which goes up to about there, which worked for keeping most of the wildlife in, but some desperate cattle would still get across. So we've now extended the grid further, and we've painted the inside black, so it gives the impression that there's a deeper crevice inside than there actually is. But the idea of these grids was to ensure that we could keep the reintroduced wildlife within the fenced area, but not disrupt the movement of elephant that have been using these trails for many, many years, coming to drink at the dam. So elephant and your predators and primates can still cross here easily, which they do, but it keeps the wildlife in and it keeps the cattle out. Another reason for us putting in the grids, we've got an electric fence here, and if there were no grids where the elephant could come in and out, they would damage the fence. So what we did was we walked the entire area and then identified the most well-used elephant trails, and on those trails we put these grids. So from the base of that mountain to the base of this mountain is probably about 2 kilometers. We've got 4 grids just on this section here. This is where a lot of the activity is from now until sort of the rain settle in, them coming across to feed on this river and drink at the big dam. One disadvantage of the grid obviously is that humans can cross it. Poachers could cross in, but that's why it's important to have enough game scouts to patrol the fence line and the grids daily, not only for breaks or damages anywhere, but to ensure that no poachers or dogs or anything like that have crossed in, because dogs can cross a grid. So right now we're in the middle of a drought, so the grass is very, very short everywhere, and water as well. So there are a lot of hungry cattle around. You can see the cattle dung on that other side. So this is just a visual barrier to deter the cattle from crossing, but it doesn't affect the elephants at all. An elephant will just walk up with his trunk, just lift that and bump it out the way. And the next day when the game scouts come by, they just put it back on. But it doesn't hamper the elephant or the predators from coming in and out.
As we're developing on the property, especially on the cattle section, the community actually help us with labour. We will provide them with the wire, the tools for the fencing and so on, but they'll actually come and do the job themselves in their own time, and that's up to them to get it done. We don't do everything for them. And we feel that's important because it involves them with the project, and we don't want to get to a point where people just sit back and expect everything to be given. So, everything is discussed with them, but by them actually being directly involved with the development, I think that's a good thing.
In our early discussions with the community, when we first started to get involved here, we realized that it was very important that livestock played a part in the project. And it's for that reason that we've agreed with them to assist by providing water, clean drinking water for their livestock, which they've never had. There's a small dam behind me here, about 2 kilometers, which by now is dry. And then the closest water for these guys would be 10 or 15 kilometers. It's a long way. So by providing a central water hole like this for the cattle, it enables them to be able to graze on what little leaf cover they can find now, as well as not have to walk too far to water. Yeah, this water has travelled 7 kilometers from the borehole near the dam to the top of the hill, into the big reservoir, and then the big reservoir gravity feeds the farm. This is the furthest point that we have. It's about 7 kilometers from the house. This is the Spandau dip tank. Again, part of our agreement with the community was to assist them with resources to look after their livestock. With this dip tank built in the early 80s, it's since obviously run dry, it's cracked, it's in a bit of bad shape. They asked us to assist with repairing it. They didn't want us to build a new one, they asked us to repair the old one. So we've brought water from the top of the hill, 7 k's, and we'll start shortly with replastering and fixing the cracks on the inside. Once that's done, the community will be able to look after their own livestock by dipping them when they need to, by using the crush to dehorn and to follow all the other animal husbandry practices that will improve the livestock and the quality of their livestock. From very early on, we realized that a big factor to draw animals back into the property and to be able to have the animals grow was water. So we looked at the map and we chose some key spots to put these water holes in. This is Bush Pig Pan. It's the first water hole that we put in on the property. Since then we built another 5, and after that we've got another 2 to go. All fed from a central borehole that's gravity fed from the top of the hill.
When putting in our new water points, we've been laying the pipelines along our existing roads so that we can easily pick up breakages from elephant when they dig and pull the pipes up. It's much easier again to pick it, to find the breaks and to get there to repair it.
All of the troughs are used by zebra, giraffe, wildebeest, kudu, impala, hyenas, leopards. Of late, we've also had a lot of elephant come in as it's getting dry.
Since we've started, we've actually expanded a little bit now. And we're now in a situation where our neighbours are approaching us and wanting to become involved with the wildlife. They've heard firsthand how people are benefiting from the sustainable hunting with wildlife, and they're now wanting to be included in the project.